welcome everybody. I'm very honored and delighted to introduce Donna, White Flame Woman, who's with me now. And hi, Donna. Big hug.
Hi.
Um, Donna's from New Zealand, and Donna was born in New Zealand and grew up in a small town. And she's part Maori. And Donna, you started in healthcare work when you were about 16, and you've worked in that for many years and helping people.
Yes.
And when you tell me that, I always think of, the amazing astrologer Daniel Soolu, how he talks about how we manifest a kind of a physical, job that's often a reflection of our higher purpose, and how you're
Oh,
helping people now in the spiritual realms and everything, you
love
know.
that. Yeah, it's a very good segue pathway.
Thanks, honey. And then you went on to study in New York, a master's in science, and you studied tarot, Reiki, Rahani celestial healing, and you've been doing energy work for years, and you specialize in deep soul healing and past life work that, well, whatever comes up really, to help people on their journey of ascension. That's fantastic.
Yes, yeah, I'm very grateful to be in this place. It's taken a wee while to get here. But I just love what I do, and I'm so grateful that I can be of service really and help people out, which is why we
Brilliant.
all do it, isn't it?
Thanks, honey. Your website is earthfield-starfield, so we'll put it in below this YouTube so that people can find you.
Thank you.
Okay. And just tell me a little bit about how your spiritual journey started for people who are maybe going through that at the minute or continuing on that journey.
So my first experience of connecting beyond the usual 3D world was in my 20s, where weekly we would attend a meditation group. And on this one particular evening, we were asked to go home with homework about karma and find out about karma, and then come back the next week and report on that. So I went home and connected in just as well as I could, because I didn't really know what I was doing at that point in time. But incredibly, Ascended Master Yeshua came through, and I was completely blown away, to be honest. And what he showed me about karma was a candle and it being lit, and that the lighting of the candle was shown to be a life. So when the candle was lit, it was you living your life. And as you lived your life, you started to reduce the amount of karma, or cleared or balanced the karma in that life. And as you did, the candle would get lower. And at the end of that life, when the light went out, when the candle went out, that karma would stay the same in the candle until you would come in for another life, so to speak, and the candle was lit again, and then you would continue your journey of balancing your karma out.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I just found that so profound, and I was just really in awe of that experience, and I still remember it like it was yesterday, to be honest, because it was the first time where I really connected to something beyond myself.
Yeah, amazing, love. Amazing. And your own spiritual journey, how did it unfold after that? Tell me about the deepenings, the way that spirit shaped your soul, what helped you, that kind of thing.
I think the spiritual journey over the past 3 decades, I mean, for myself, past 3 decades, has been really challenging. It's kind of breaking down the patterns that we've grown up with, that we've been taught by our people around us and by society. And the spiritual path is, in some aspects to myself, is completely opposite. It's like turning things upside down, where The human way is, well, sometimes the human way is to love from a place of balance, but in a way that's kind of not giving and receiving. But the spiritual way is just about giving and receiving from your heart rather than what am I going to get back and what's equal. And sort of unlearning all of that's been a real challenge. I find that on my journey, it's been like a stepwise process where each step that I've taken towards the spiritual path, the challenges have become much more difficult to manage, to the point where the last really deep, dark period that I experienced, I just essentially had to surrender because I just didn't have anywhere else to go in it. And I think for some of us, that's the way up, the only way.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, I just feel like, and I feel like my personality too is a bit stubborn and a bit, but
you're telling me, honey.
and I'm,
because I can be
holes
like
in the ground and I'm not moving, and so I'm just getting like, yes, you've got to move, and
yeah, I'm the same. Yeah.
And so I did end up saying, I just can't do this anymore. I need to surrender. And I spent a couple of hours just doing all sorts of things, dancing, singing, crying, screaming, punching pillows, just whatever you could do to just get to that point where you can let go and just surrender to whatever is coming next. And I did feel like I did get to a point. And so after that, the same day, I went for a drive in the car. And after about 45 minutes, I pulled into a gas station. And I was just outside my car filling it up with gas. And then a man walked past. He was going back to his truck, which was on the necks of Bowser. And he sort of kind of looked at me and carried on. I could just smiled at each other, and he carried on into his truck. And then as his truck started to move past me, he stopped and he wound down the window and he said, "God bless you." And then wound up his window and carried on.
Wow.
And I just you could have knocked me over with a feather, because if that's not a sign, that's,
Yeah.
I don't know what is, but I've never experienced that before, and I've never experienced that since. So I guess what I'm saying is that my journey led to the surrender, and surrender led to the path, really. And I've been on it ever since.
Beautiful, Donna. I love that too about I feel that I really resonate with what you said about being broken down to be built back up. Like that surrendering, I think, is an essential part of the journey, and the getting out of the way and the opening the heart, and the signs I feel they come when you're meant to get them, but they're such a blessing. They're such a blessing.
Yep. For me, it just felt like what I'd done that morning was, God was telling me, "Yeah, you're on. You got it."
Yeah. And sweetheart, you've got such an amazing connection with the white flame. Like it is truly amazing. Because I did a training course in it with Judith Kuzel, which was amazing. And we've been working together a bit, and I've been shown your spirit, and I feel very blessed to have seen it. How you are completely the white flame, and you hold that, and you're extremely pure and have a very high vibration. And yeah, it's a real honor. It really is. And so that journey for you, you said you've been working with this energy for some time now. And it's just got
Yes.
stronger and stronger in you. Is that right? That's what.
Yes, it's such a process of, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, I find. And you just got to put the pieces together, follow the breadcrumbs, put the pieces together, find the right path, which is sometimes not always very clear, because I did start out in spiritual teaching. And I did feel like after a while it wasn't quite on track. And yeah, just trial and error, I think, too. Don't be afraid to try, because you learn through that experience. So I learned through that I can do spiritual teaching, but that wasn't where I was meant to go. But it was where I was meant to venture down to understand that that's not where I was meant to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that there are any wrong ways to go, because I think experience teaches you a lot, especially when you go the wrong way. I mean, you learn so much more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. And it also builds character, because I don't think that I could be doing what I'm doing today without those experiences of going up the wrong path.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And a very positive way to look at it. Sweetheart, so what things do you do for yourself on your spiritual journey? I mean, I love the analogy of, what you were saying about getting that stuff out and whatever you needed to do, because sometimes I think people have this idea about, spirituality. Once you go into it, you can sit and meditate, and yeah, you can, but my God, it's like the soul wrenching comes after the activations, like to get the stuff out. And sometimes these emotions, they're so raw and they have to come out. So I think thumping a pillow, I've used that one myself. Shouting, I've used that one myself. Yeah, because it's got a, you're spot on there. And so what would be your main spiritual little tools that people could maybe share, or you have any advice for people on their spiritual journey?
Definitely. I have a toolbox full at this point in time. Which one shall I choose today? Which one do I need today?
Wonderful.
Yeah. I definitely go to the things that I really love to do. I mean, I know it sounds really simple, but sometimes when you're in the dark places, you really don't want to do the stuff that lights you up. But if you are able to do that, for me, it's music. I love music. Dancing. I mean, I can just put my earphones on and sing to my favorite song and dance in the dark in my sitting room. I mean, that's something that I would do. And I think it's the physical movement too that just helps to shift the energy.
Yeah, definitely, honey.
Yeah. Presence is a big one for me. When I am struggling mentally or struggling to contain the thoughts, I'll just really be mindful to shift into presence and focus my thoughts on exactly what I'm doing. And if it's vacuuming, I'm focusing on the vacuuming. If it's doing the dishes, I'm focusing on doing the dishes. And it's really great to have those kind of mundane kind of jobs to focus on, because then you're not getting caught up in the thoughts that you're trying to get away from.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
yeah. Nature, of course. Oh my gosh, yeah, that is amazing. And I walk every day, and I walk through a little forest, a little kind of foresty thing that we have here where I live. I go to the beach once a week in bare feet, in the water, and these are just the things that I do regularly, because I do believe that for them to be tools, you have to use them regularly. You can't just pull them out of the toolbox when you need them, having not used them for 6 months. So I would suggest is that you start practicing your tools daily, weekly, whatever, so that when you do really need them, when you are in trouble, when you are struggling to cope with whatever's going on in life, then you know that you can pull out a tool and you've got this.
Wonderful, honey. Those are lovely little sharings. Would you like to yeah, this is your question. I'm borrowing it for you. Would you like to tell us about a moving experience that has come in for you or come in through you that has influenced your work? So yeah, that was the Yesho one. Have you had with the candle, which was lovely? I'm sure you've had lots though.
Gosh, okay. Influenced. Well, actually, Melanie, what's come to mind is a session with you. My first session with
Oh,
you, actually. Yeah. That it was quite late at night for us, wasn't it? Well, it was quite late at night for me. I think we started at about 10:30 at night and finished at about 11:30. And then after the session, I did an Epsom salt foot soak and had a cacao, and then I went to bed probably after midnight. But the experience that I had during that period of sleep was incredible. I had just this loving energy coming in. I could feel the energy moving up my spine like a kundalini rising. Just such beautiful beings of light that came in that night, and I was just in and out of sleep and dream time. And I woke up the next morning and just thought I'd been in heaven the whole night.
Oh,
And I just felt really moved by our session, and I haven't experienced that again. So it just showed me the level of connection and what the work does when you're open to receiving.
yeah. No, it's an honor. Sorry, Donna, I'm just going to say you're easy to work on because you're open and you're out of the way, and you're so highly vibrating. So you get it, and you're out of the way, so the spirits can just move into you. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the biggest things that I take with me in my work is that people to receive, that they need to be open to receiving. And so yeah, that's kind of what I learned from that.
Okay, thank you so much. So Donna, do you have anything else you'd like to share before we just we're just going to share about the Ascension Course?
I just what an honor and a pleasure it is to be doing this course with you, Melanie, and our connection. I just love our playful, fun, friendly, fairy-filled connection, and it's just an honor to be here, to be able to share our work with whomever feels called.
Thanks, Donna. So, yeah, we do have an Ascension course coming up starting in the autumn, Ascension with the White and Gold Flames, and we'll post the details below for those of you who are interested. Okay, now it's time for the tea break.
And now we're going to do a quick switcheroo, and it's me doing the interviewing. And let's introduce this beautiful, lovely lady here, Melanie, White Feathers woman, born and grew up in County Down in Northern Ireland, qualified as a marine biologist, and has worked in several places around the world following her work. She began her spiritual wake-up in 2002. And then from that point began to awaken and start to dabble a bit in the spiritual realm, starting with Reiki and then Seikim, phytobiophysics, trained as a moon mother, but shamanism was really at the heart of Melanie's calling. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you,
Would
honey.
Would you like to tell us just a little bit more about how you came to shamanism and how that really kind of cemented your spiritual platform, I guess?
Yeah, so I didn't really know anything about it. And it was really, when I began to wake up, I had nowhere to turn and no teachers. And this is what I feel, that it's the vulnerable people that I feel almost a little bit protective of when they start to wake up and they start to go into spirituality, because they can be taken advantage of. And not necessarily the negative of ways, but as in, you know, well, I'm not going to go into what can happen, but I feel there's an integrity and a way you can do the medicine that lets the divine spirit right through you, and you're not the power, and you really genuinely care about the person, and that's what we're about. And I suppose when the shamanism, I was led to it really for deep healing of myself, and I didn't realize what it was. So I didn't realize that it's a modality that's all around the world, and it's the thing that connects you to the elements of this earth. So even if we're like, wherever we're from, whatever planets we're from, those connections to the elements and the healing of the elements within us gives us a foundation like I've never seen. So for me, I don't think I could have connected to the celestial realms, the Rahani, without that deep and many layered clearing. The way shamanism can go through the layers in the soul, and the layers, in the heart or wherever they are, is astounding. You know, so I'm very, very grateful to Paul for that, because he trained me in it, and then I felt like I feel like I'm one of those people that came in with a lot of stuff. I had a lot of baggage, a lot of stuff, a lot of deep, heavy soul and ancestral stuff, and also on a level being born into Northern Ireland, I've seen collective stuff to do with that's come through me as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a lot.
Real idiot in spirit. Oh yeah, I'll take this one. I'll refuse. Do you know?
I do. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Are you sure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
That sounds incredible, actually. And do you think that I know obviously you have a love of water with being a marine biologist. Do you think that the shamanism kind of brought out that love that was within you, or was it the other way around? Did you
So
do the shamanism and then it just became
I've always loved water, even since I was a kid. And I've always felt very at home there. Before I did the shamanism, I was always doing, diving instructor training, or sailing, windsurfing, surfing, everything I could do in the water. It was my thing. And so what the shamanism did was help open to the spirits of the water that were coming in, that I could feel this love, and I could feel sometimes there's such a strong pull to the water, like I would almost go into the sea.
hit me at it?
you know, and not knowing why. And then, it definitely deepened the connection, helped me to understand, who I am and what's moving through me.
That's
Yeah,
really beautiful. Yeah, really
yeah.
beautiful. And so when you're coming into this kind of spiritual journey, you say that it kind of began in 2002. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And
Yeah, yeah. I was working in Fort William in the Highlands of Scotland, and I remember I remember seeing like 22s on the clock. And I was sort of looking at them, gosh, I've seen that. And I began to notice that it was way more than, random. And I Googled, what does 22 mean? Spiritual number 22. And of course it meant actualization of God within the self. Like that was the meaning I got. And I thought, oh, okay. And then things began. I had a couple of experiences, very, very light experiences where, sometimes you get this beginner's luck where you have these amazing spiritual experiences. One night I remember my eyes opened, they moved me, they sat me up and turned my head, and there was a fairy with my physical eyes in the window. I turned and then lay back down again. And then when I was working in Bristol, I got a short contract in Bristol. It was actually I think one of the only land jobs I've had, and I was radio tracking hedgehogs. And they
Oh,
used to give me the Scottish hedgehogs because I had a knack of finding them because they used to go far further, and I used to keep joking that they were my Scottish ancestors. Anyway, it's like radio thing, right? I used to think that I was after their TV license, and they'd close the door, but I was trying to find the hedgehogs, right? And then I went into this shop. It was a crystal healing shop. And I thought, oh, I'll treat myself to a crystal healing because I was always drawn to crystals and didn't really know much about them. Anyway, during the session, one of the clear crystals, it looked like this. It was as clear as that. The crystal
wow.
he was using, and it went after the session. It went brown, completely like there was a cloud in it. And I felt like someone sucked out poison out of me. And also,
wow.
yeah, when I was on the bed, she touched the center of my foot with a crystal. And I remember I became the light completely, not with my physical eyes even, like there was no self, just light. Of course, the second I was the light, I was like, and then of course it's out of it, like because I was trying to hold on to it, right? And then what happened was that to me gave me like encouragement to sort of keep going and keep opening because so much of my journey has been very physical. It started with physical poisoning in the house and all that sort of thing, and there is a collective energy that in Northern Ireland that people come in and they forget why they're there, and they go into the split again, rather than healing why they've come in. And yeah, my journey continued for a number of years, and it got very, very dark in the middle, very, very dark, where I would hear both. So before I went into that, I was completely vegan, and I kind of aligned with like the I am presence, and I could hear it as clear as we're talking now. But then it was like everything sort of collapsed, and I had to go right into experiencing like several dark nights of the soul and I know you've been through that, to I call it like soul wrenching, when you feel the energies are actually being wrenched out of your soul. And it's like walking hell, isn't it? For those people who have ever experienced that or understand what it's like to be thrown into, okay, this is in your soul, this is in your ancestor line, go clear it. And all the time, even though at times it got very dark, I have this very strong, it's like a sense of service. Like you talk about getting out of the way, opening the heart, say, okay, I'm here to do what I came to do. I love that presence, that God, Goddess presence. I love that, and that's what I'm here to serve and help, however it's meant to be. And and then the campo's been amazing for my own health because sometimes with core fear or the deepenings people go through, it comes out physically and people don't understand what's happening. And they don't associate the physical symptoms to do with a very deep spiritual clearing that's going on. And that's been very much my journey, and it's been very core and very deep. And it's given me a much greater compassion for others, a much greater understanding, I feel, and less judgment, because I felt very judged a lot of my life, I think, because I wasn't seen. You know, Christelle Ariel said to me years ago, she's an amazing reader, and she said, people aren't going to see you. So it's like I've accepted it, get used to it. And this is where I feel you're like a soul sister to me, because you see me and I see you from right here.
I do see you. Yeah.
And,
I was
and
just going to say, you emanate that, Melanie, what you were just saying about the God Goddess and the love and the service.
oh,
I
that's so
just
sweet.
I do. I just you emanate that from your energy, and that's really beautiful. And I know that's come about as a consequence of you doing your work and having to go through these dark nights of the soul. And I also would just like to say that for people who don't understand the health journey or don't understand the physical journey, that it is really challenging when when you're not healthy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a real challenge to move through that. So I just, yeah, thank you for sharing all of that. That was really, really beautiful, very
Oh,
touching.
thanks, honey. Because I suppose, one of the repetitive message I get from the guides in my life is like, when you look at someone, you know, they kept saying to me, you know, you don't know what they're going through until you've gone through it yourself. And Omar, my Cambo teacher, would always say, you can only help someone where you've been yourself. You can only help them out of it if you've been there yourself. And I do feel that's so true. I also feel that some of those memories that we can invoke from the soul can come in. So, for example, the children that come in, I pray that they can access their old soul memories in ways that they don't have to suffer. I do believe that they can journey with this tapping into memory, sacred memory, to just remember and embody the wisdom as they need to move through it without having to physically, you know, the way the
Go through
3D
fire.
world, the 3D world and the 3D suffering. And yeah, and I think like you, Donna, because I know you do this too. It's like this is surrendering. You talked about that and how it's so important to keep working on the self and to keep getting out of the way and to keep saying, okay, you know, what's in me? Why do I feel this? How do I become a better service? Where's the hurt? Where's the original hurt? And to pull that out. And that's essentially what we're going to be doing deep work during the gold white flame into the deepest aspects of the whole self in through different weeks, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yes, very exciting times
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Um, just I'm just gonna fire that same question back at you, Melanie. Could you tell us about something that has really moved you or come through you or for you in your work
Yeah, so I've got a number
area?
of experiences in the water. I know the water spirits initiated me 3 times, where there were 3 accidents that happened, and they could have gone incredibly wrong, but I got this almighty, divinely beautiful peace, and it came right through me, and then I remember, I was working way off Africa as a dive guide. And I remember I wasn't right. I'd been given anti-malarials and they were affecting me way too much. And I remember being underwater and this turtle came right up beside me and just stared at me. It was so close. It was probably about that. Stared at me in the eyes. And I could feel this energy coming. Now, this is when I call myself asleep. I would have been asleep. And partly I was a little bit out of my body because I was taking anti-malarials that were way too strong. Um, and again, another poisoning. It's been a kind of repetitive.
Mm, mm,
I'm not going to that. But it was so powerful. It was able to get into me. And
wow,
yeah,
that's
Fungi
incredible.
the dolphin as well. Fungi the dolphin. And I've had experiences with animals and things underwater where there's this, you look at them in the eye and they look back at you with so, like the presence of source. They are it, and they even with sharks, um, the animals in the sea carry, I think is is really touched me on a very deep level. Yeah, an octopus as well. Yeah.
Amazing. We'll have to call you the Dr. Doolittle of the sea to come up with a name for that, Melanie. Give me some time for that.
Yeah, funny.
Yeah. Well, this has been really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna, sister.
Yeah,
Please.
such a lovely get together and just a little informal chat about our spiritual journeys. And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm very grateful to be here with you and very honored. Thank you.
me too, love. Thank you. And I'm just so excited about the course. It's been, for those of you who don't know, it's been guided by spirit and it just flowed through us. And so, yeah, it starts in the autumn. We'll put all the details below and get in touch if you've got any questions. And we'll hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.